I'ma keep it G until I OD. Yeah. Lost souls in they old ways. I spend every day in my zone. Watch me generate. Penetrate the game, this ain't no foreplay. I'm for real, like getting killed in broad day. That's why I ain't got no time to waste. I peek the way we living, making it better for our children. Lift the ceiling off the jail cell. Like what the fuck a limit when you let your imagination sail. Shit came in the mail, balling on these niggas, not to flex. Showing where I fed and teaching to inspire how to make it through the fire. Feel like Shaka Khan, a vision turn around. She know just what I want. Had to get it on my own, but now I'm surrounded against the family home. Taking over, I'm a supernova, God, family soldier. Ay, think I'm in too deep, but I can't stop now. I got goals to reach, yeah. Ay, on my soul to keep, I'ma keep it G until OD, yeah. On my soul to keep.
Oh, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B.
On my soul to keep, I'ma keep it G until OD.
You are now watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond the everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And today, I want to talk about what's up. He said Dark Laser. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. So for the most part, I want to talk about something a little different than just the daily transits. This time, this live going to be about how to align your spiritual path with your career path, right? Off the rip. Let's get a few things out the way to understand what we actually are talking about, right? So when I say spiritual path, this is, again, if we're talking about spirit, right? Spirit, your spirit, you are a spirit that's using a human vessel to experience. It's a traveling thing. It's almost like if you were to think, like, look at your body almost like shoes, and your spirit is filling those shoes in to take steps in the physical to have a certain type of experience in order to gain more wisdom, knowledge. It's like so many things you actually gain from experience, and in the world, we all chose to come here for some reason. There was something that we felt like we needed to learn, you know what I'm saying? And again, science pretty much will probably tell you whether or not you a new spirit here, or if you've been here so many damn times that you finally at a point where it's like, okay, shit, it's time for me to get my shit together so that I can either claim my space here, or I can allow my spirit the freedom to travel elsewhere. It really comes down to that. There's like, if we look at it, right, we all come here for a reason. That reason is to go through different experiences. These are meant to take us through different, to basically show us more sides of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things as far as we just looking at Earth and what Earth energy represents, growth, forms of, time being spent and things like that. When we think about everything earthly takes a long time to develop, right? But what is also about Earth, healing to a degree, you know what I'm saying? Forms of nurture, when we talk about actually what the planetary energy represents. And again, if your mind has reached that end of, say, because we all, especially on our spiritual path, we all ask questions. So if you ask the question, why are you here on Earth? Again, the start, when you be in that space long enough, you'll start to come to certain conclusions for you to understand, like, or at least get some kind of sense of, okay, well, I'm here to expand on certain energies, the things that frustrate me, right? The things that I'm naturally excited about, the things that I've been through that still cause fear in me to not want to go certain directions or to stay in other spaces, right? All these different things give us information for us to be able to take and decipher for ourselves whether or not we are living a life that we want to live, or if there's still some kind of discrepancy between the life we want to live and what we're choosing to express and embody, right? And then let's take it into the next step. What you embody is what you create around you. Life is a perspective game. You have to understand that everything comes down to your ability to, it's basically your awareness. So whatever you're looking at, your level of awareness is going to give you access to different thought forms and different feelings, right? If you have a awareness that allows you to travel into more positive spaces, a lot of times this is a sign of you being a spirit who has more power over your perception. Because see, that's the thing. It's like kind of how they say knowledge is power. Shout out to Equilibrium. How they say knowledge is power. Why is knowledge power? knowledge is power. People will think knowledge is power is a quote to be like, oh, I got power over others. But it's really a power of self. You have the power to control yourself. More awareness or more knowledge, if you will, it allows you to utilize your spaceship, your space, your spirit, and direct it. Well, yeah, your spaceship, which would be your mentality, right? Your thoughts and feelings. You're able to direct those things in ways that benefit your spirit. A lot of people, right, the common person isn't taught these things, and we live in a world that is already off the bat in reverse. So a lot of the things we think is right because we see other spirits do it is actually maybe not right for us. You know, it's actually very wrong for us, very left field for what we're trying to do naturally. Again, even how you, without getting too deep into that, how the system itself is set up. You know what I'm saying? Again, we wake up every day, where you going, first thing on your mind is probably bills. And then, you know, probably bills and what everybody else is doing based upon you getting on social media, and that being the first thing you see is like other people living lifestyles of things that you start to desire. You know what I'm saying? And those weren't necessarily your natural desires. Again, who made a concept of money? Who gave you the idea of what you think wealth is? If you haven't gone to that space and defined for yourself what wealth actually is, you're going to follow anybody on the internet that you see, even in your actual life, that has something shiny that makes and it makes it seem as though their life is desirable, more desirable than your own. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you want more money, you want to be able to get, you know, certain cars and certain clothes and stuff like that, especially if you grew up in a space where you didn't have those things. You grew up in a space where you see other people have those things. You watched on the entertainment, on television, things like that, people that inspired you. But what inspired you, it might have been a little bit of that creativity. But see, this kind of gets us into the next kind of conversation when we talk about career paths, right? Because the thing is, you know, especially in today's age, everybody wants to be a celebrity, but nobody knows why. Everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to express themselves, and that's really why, because innately are here to express forms, sides of ourselves, to impress ourselves, to expand in ways that we didn't think we could expand, right? But the whole thing is, you know, when you start to talk about how creativity is viewed in the world, a lot of times creativity is conflated with business. There's a marketing team behind this image. You know, again, your favorite artists, things of that nature, you start to learn, especially in music, that these people actually, at a certain point, if they chose to go down certain, you know, pathways and open certain doors, the way they express themselves is actually as a product, and they're a product for whatever is funding their career, right? So you start to, it's kind of, and I feel like this age is where we really see kind of that disintegration between the lines of you know, artists we grew up on that at one point we might have idolized, and we, hey man, like this person's so dope, you know, they inspired certain things inside you, but then you grow up to kind of see the behind the scenes. Now we getting into a place where the internet made these people so accessible that their life has now become more so something to pick and poke at, like in a negative way, to criticize. Like celebrities who were once praised without question are now the first ones on the chopping block. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on the way coming from work listening to a Ja Rule song, right? And then there was a you know, moment on Twitter and stuff like that where somebody had said, you know, oh no, it was Dave Chappelle, that's what it was. And Dave Chappelle's like, you know, who gives a fuck about what Ja Rule think, right? And like it's a funny thing, right? If you seen the joke, y'all know what I'm talking about. But Dave Chappelle just was making a skit about like, what the hell we like, because he was talking about crisis in the world. I don't know if it was the 9/11 shit, but it was something. And you know, Ja Rule made a tweet, and the joke was like, you know, why would we want to hear from Ja Rule and shit like that? And the funny thing is, you know, it's two sides to it, because again, yeah, it's a funny joke, but on some real shit, you know, I'm listening to this nigga music in the car, and I'm like, yo, like, you know, this is a real person with, you know, real thoughts, and they made good songs. You know what I'm saying? They made art forms that at one point was so respected. Like, I mean, if you talk to some of y'all parents, they'll tell you, like, you know, them Ja Rule songs was the shit. You know what I'm saying? It was a certain perception about who we put in these positions, who was entertaining us, that you go today's time, that's not held to the same standard. And if anything, because of the different, I don't know if it's because of the difference in age or whatever it is, but that's the first person to be a joke. Ja Rule is like the butt of everybody's joke based upon what we seen when we got close to the actual person behind the character. So all of this, right, it's a tangent, but it relates back to the title of the live. Like, how do we align our spiritual path with our career path? So I like to look at what certain individuals may have did, you know, things that with more awareness you could probably avoid. And a lot of that you start to understand, like especially people, celebrities back in those times, you understand really what they got themselves into. They had a talent, right? A true talent that came from a real place, which is why you fuck with them in the first place. What happened though? And really, you see time and time again, it's the deals, the contracts, the you know, when you get into these contracts and what these things actually mean, you start to understand this is where, when we think about cobalt minds, being the individuals with knowing how to structure things and get the right resources out of things, basically energies that know how to take, you know what I'm saying? It's like very cold and methodical type energies, you know what I'm saying? That's really just all about the money, right? The business side of it. But then you have the gold mines, the people with the actual gift and talent who may not know how to organize it, package it, and market it to you, but they have something that's so special, it makes you feel connected to it and drawn to it regardless, right? But at a certain point, it was these cobalt mines that had all the power. So again, you had to get in front of a label or an executive, a music executive, or anybody of that nature, right? No matter what you did, whether it was a director, you do film, or art, you know, somebody in the art world, or art critic, you had to get in front of the right people to be to be a sanction, basically, and agree to move forward in that field. So it created this kind of vacuum, right, where people with really raw talent were, and then you got to think about the circumstance too that a lot of these individuals was in. These was individuals coming from poverty, coming from places where they really ain't have shit. So it was a certain desperation that was developed within them. And like I said in the beginning, you know, we grow up watching these people having things that represent what they think. And when I say they, the individuals who created the world, this is what they want you to think is desirable, right? So this is where the first trap starts. You know what I'm saying? You idolize these things, so you come up with in your human mind, how do I get that? When you do things like that, when you go off of desires first and consult with the spirit, what happens is, this is where you make 98% of your mistakes in life. Because what happens is, you choose to basically compensate what you lack physically. You try to compensate it with what you can pretend to be internally. What I mean by that is, like, okay, you see a bunch of rappers that behave a certain way, get a record deal. Your spirit didn't have those experiences, didn't come to those conclusions. You actually have a whole different idea of yourself than what you've seen work and be successful in these areas. Early on, this was the mistakes. And see, I'm talking in terms of career, but this is really even in your own personal life. Another example or metaphor or allegory I could make, let's say you was attracted to a person, right? You was attracted to somebody, because we all experienced something like this, right? We was attracted to somebody, and we seen maybe the type of people that they seem to like. Maybe we even seen things that we think that type of person would like, right? So we try to what? We compensate our spirit, who we really are, what's all going on internally, our true self. We modify that, fit the mold of whatever we think is going to be agreeable in the eyes of what we desire. So this is us going off of desires first, leading with desire, leading with what I want to get from it, my expectation of what heaven could be. And even these concepts, we start to understand what these things are, how we even say things like, oh, heaven is the same thing. Why is that? Because if you think of what they, and what I mean is, you could equate it to people who run the world, or people who develop the concept of the religion of you know, of religion in general. You know what I'm saying? Understanding how religion is a worldview, that's turned into it's like ninth house energy turned into a lifestyle. Religion in and of itself is something that was created, but it really just represents a way of seeing the world. Like I said, life is a perception game. It's how you seeing this shit, which is how you get control and how you take control over yourself. And again, when you adopt a worldview that you haven't walked the path of, you haven't actually experienced, when you just choose a worldview, right, that was given to you, what happens? It leads to the other problem I was saying about awareness. You lack awareness outside of that worldview because you wasn't doing what was natural and what we were supposed to be doing, which is finding our own way, finding our own, or developing our own lifestyle based upon who we are, what we came to be, and who we are. Shout out to Jackie New. He said, listening while getting myself together, my day started. Hey, real shit. Real, I'm just getting off work, man. But I still got work to do, so I don't even know when I'm gonna sleep. But because that's the time we in right now. But for the most part, that's really what's going on. So when you leave with desire, you're tripping over your own footsteps. You're trying to fit the mold with your spirit, which is, and again, this is where we flip it, right? Your spirit and your individuality and shit like that, that is being a powerful spirit. When we say shit like that, that means, like I said in the very beginning, you have the power to embody who you are regardless of what you see externally. Then, like I said, the first examples we were saying, where we make 98% of our mistakes, leading with desire, right? Compensating with our spirit to fit and embody a mold that's not true to us. When we flip that, right? Because that's what the world, and that's my point too, that's what the world that's been created, that's what they have led that's what they have led people to believe. Because it's the same way as if you would think of some of those science experiments or psychological experiments where they praise a behavior to get the subject to continue that behavior. You know what I'm saying? They give a reward for you behaving in a certain way, and they clap for that, they praise that, and then what they do is they project that on the world screen, aka entertainment. Because you got to understand it, and this is kind of where we have to understand, like I was saying, as far as career path and spiritual path, this is where we start to look at these two things and start to work with it like a Rubik's Cube, because it's all a game. So understanding the principles of the game, which is what we would consider career path or pursuit of career, right? Even if you work in a day job that you don't care about, right? It might be just you working at a gas station. There's ways that they can be used for your spiritual path, right? And you can start to make a pathway out of that stepping stone job if you choosing to, depending on what kind of lifestyle you trying to live. Because let's be real, right? No, you don't have to go to college and get all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that. But you do have to figure out, how are you gonna start to obtain income? How are you gonna create something to generate the resource that the world we are in is using, right? We can talk all mystical and spiritual, and yeah, that's fun, but I'm like, let's balance this shit. We have to balance it. 24, how we got to do spirituality, it's no longer about being all whimsical and just thinking that you closing your eyes and saying kumbaya is gonna magically manifest $1 million or enough to pay your rent, for that matter. We have to look at this more realistically and bring balance to it, because that's not godly either. Sitting around waiting, praying and hoping, thinking that something's gonna fall in your lap. And that's part of what I was saying even in the beginning of coming to this world in the first place. Earth is about work, and how we work. It's like, if you think about it, like when I think of Earth, I think of a farm. So you got to see, like, when you're thinking of a farm, these crops, we always talk about planting seeds and then harvesting the fruit, right? During full moons and new moons, we plant seeds, and we're in the process of what the spiritual practitioners are called manifesting, but it's really you're tending to your garden, you tend to your farm, you're allowing your crops to grow. And what does that entail? If you ever been around agriculture or understand agriculture, you know there's times to water your plants, there's times to repot your plants, there's times to give certain nutrients to the soil, there's certain soil mixtures you have to do on certain seasons. All of these things are mental gymnastics that we do in our everyday life that we don't consider as important. What we might think is important is what we get up and experience on a day-to-day basis. That has its importance, but if we don't get the internal right, whatever you do during your day is low-key gonna set you back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You might be making progress, but you can make so much more progress with the right perspective, because then you know where to direct energy, time, and attention. Which, again, even the idea of time, I don't like to say time is an illusion. Time is very real. It's one of the realest things we have. It's finite, it's valuable. So we have to know what we're doing with our time. Again, you might have that day job where for 8 hours of the day, you're like, why am I here? But again, that's where the power lies internally. If you know where to direct your attention, know while you at that job, and know how to kind of hop in between worlds where, yeah, your body can physically be stocking shelves, but your mind is on you building something outside of that job. And really the whole thing is you're at a place to generate income resource, right? Raw resource that you can now take and spend physically to invest in what you want to see in the physical, right? But that's, you know what I'm saying, that's when we get the paycheck and stuff like that. But I'm talking about, how do we align these things though? And this is part of it. Part of it is having and that's part of creativity too. That's part of having some form of being able to see outside the box and understand how all things are working for you if you allow it to. And you have to just be creative enough to come up with the right metaphors to be able to use these things for them to align with you. Make it make sense that you work at that job. Because in a sense, you didn't choose that shit for no reason. You know what I'm saying? You didn't choose that shit for no reason. You knew what you was doing. So you have to, and that's part of trusting yourself. And that develops over time. But how I'm speaking, it's just we in such a time where we have to get these things clear. We have to, like I said before, the way we go about spirituality is completely different than it was 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago. Anything, it's like this is part of we amidst a shift, right? And we've been in this shift for a minute, but part of this is kind of a lot of this time period, what we're going through, a lot of these outer planets too, switching degrees or switching signs, going retrograde, but then finna go direct again. What's happening is it's a lot of separation between the mature spirits and spirits who got a little more to learn. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a lot or a little more to learn about life in general, about themselves in general. People that we see that can't quite figure it out. And see, the thing is, we all in the process of figuring out our own algorithm and figuring out what's working for ourselves. And that's different, you know what I'm saying? Or it's really the same thing, but the difference is if you're catching the shift or not. Because right now there's a lot of call to action energy. Like we in Leo season, it's call to action. So that means, hey, there's a stage set based upon your preparation that you've done from past transits leading up to now. You got certain leverage in certain areas. You either been doing it for real, behind closed doors with other people or not. You know what I'm saying? Or outside. You either been doing that or you haven't. So right when now we in Leo season where it's time to present, it's kind of like we're looking for what you've been doing, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's not, nobody is actually in your life wondering what you've been doing, but everybody's paying attention right now. It's a lot of energy right now, so that if you put yourself out, right, regardless if it's right or wrong, good or bad, if you put yourself out and it's true to you, you have the opportunity for something to open up. You know what I'm saying? Something to open up. And again, like I said, I can't say whether it's good or bad for you though, but it's based upon who you are, what you've been doing, and what you're choosing to do now, and where you're directing this energy. But, and this is not really about astrology itself, even though we just use astrology as a tool. Even if you don't know astrology, still, we're looking at the way the world works through the career and what that makes sense to do versus your spiritual path, which is really nothing to do with your career path, but your spirit is the reason. Is, like I said, you're a spirit having a human experience. So it's really all about your spirit. Your spirit is your space, and your space is like what you got in there and what you don't. Part of your experience, part of your well-being. And this is why things like mental health have become such a trending topic in the last few years, right? Because spiritually, everyone is feeling that disconnect between what they have to do every day to uphold life in this world versus what they truly resonate with and who they truly are. And how do we actually get in? So I'm the purpose of this video, right? And this is like more than just one live that I can do, you know, and this is part of what my consultations are about. How do we blend these two? So what it really is understanding, like I was saying, back to the example of the music industry, or you know, how that side of things work, right? I'm gonna start with creative endeavors, because you know, that's the thing about art. And like I was saying in the very beginning, where that's what everybody connects to. Even if, you know, it don't matter who you are, most people in the world are addicted to music. You know what I'm saying? Music be their favorite thing. Why does music bring people together so much? Like, why is music so widely understood and resonated with? And not just music though, but all forms of art. You know, not all mediums of art are for everybody. Music seems to be, but there's people who don't necessarily like music. But my point is, we all find ourselves drawn to some form of a creative endeavor based upon wanting to express what's inside. You know what I'm saying? Whether you do poetry, whether you paint pictures, whether you rap, whether you sing, whether you just like to dance and shit like that. All these different things are ways we're trying to communicate what's inside and get it out. And there's a reason to that. That holds power. That holds anybody who's ever created something and giving it away or shown it to a lot of people, right? Posted it online. Y'all know what I'm talking about when it comes to this kind of underlying energy exchange, where you feel like the people, like if you really getting responses and stuff like that, you start to feel like, damn, like, okay, I'm understood on a different level. And that's how you gain influence, basically. And we see that with any artist. And see, this is where, again, when we understand how the industry itself works, how career work, how the job system works, right? Everything with this world that's been built around us is about systems. So when you understand the system of something, you already know you're going to have to fit that system or work with that system in a way in order to get what you want out of it. So everything I've been saying in consideration, right? If we choose not to lead with desire, but you know, if we choose not to lead with desire, we won't sign that contract that's really signing our life away. You know, these contracts that people were signing is things like, you know, basically, we're going to give you a loan that you can never pay back. And all forms of your creativity are, instead of going to be used to help your living conditions, are going to be really you paying us back. You know, that's just the music industry for an example. But when we talk about even like working, you got to understand how work works too, and how people get credit cards. All of a sudden, their credit's fucked up. All of a sudden, they live in a life where they paying debt. They not actually able to use their money for what they want to use it for. They're in debt. Career path. And again, you might be working that gas station job, but how you use your paycheck is going to determine what you're working with. Because, you know, how they say, and that was the big thing too. Oh, we got to have multiple streams of income. You need to have your own business. A lot of people choosing to do these things with desire being led first. So they looking at business, how get rich now. They're looking at multiple streams of income. Let me hop online. Let me hop on TikTok. Trying to fit the mold. That's why we see what we see today. Everybody doing the damn same damn thing. Seems like everybody got the same damn ideas. Because why? They're just recycling what they think is going to work. But what does pop is the people who took a chance on, again, took a chance on who they was. even if that was the same desire. It's about how you go about it. And the thing is, we all here, so we all got desire. We all desire different things, but it's about how we choose to go about them. Again, career path. I get it. We spiritual. We, at some point you felt like you didn't need to work these stupid ass jobs, and you right. But you got to work the system. And like, to and be honest, like again, working the system can look like you being like Casanat or something like that, where you streaming and you learn how to gain money with your creativity and other ways, right? But for the most common person, or I mean, I'm not gonna say common person, like all of us had the potential to do these things. But and that's kind of the other point I want to make too, about life being, you know, kind of adding on to the idea that life is a perspective game. Again, we all have the power to do these things. When you start to ask yourself, well, why haven't I hit that yet? Why haven't I done that? That's something that you have to really dig inside yourself. And to be honest with you, you know, something like I said before, certain things are basically praised and highlighted because they match something that the people who run the world, or the individuals who run the world, are agreeing or want to spread the message of. So you got to be also, and that's kind of the underlying point, the real point of this live, right, is that, you know, why you should not get discouraged by rejection when it comes to you having some form of physical or world renowned or popular popular acceptance or praise, right? Like again, a lot of us make music. Every now and then you might wonder why, like, why doesn't my music take off the way some of these other individuals do, and why doesn't my creativity seem to get the attention? And sometimes, again, my whole thing is this: always be looking to get better, but you also have to give grace to understand that what you do see being praised, what you do see with the $1 million marketing budget, what you do see on billboards and stuff like that, a lot of again, these things are allowed. The you know, these things are allowed. So shout out to Equilibrium. He said, being vulnerably creative is what's hidden for me. I'm not getting a lot of views, but I love doing it. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And see, my thing, what I'm saying is, like, stay encouraging. Stay encouraged. Stay in that encouraged space to keep doing it that way. Because if you know, a lot of people get caught up in looking at numbers and looking at themselves and saying, well, I have all this beautiful creativity, why isn't it matching? And you know, I know the space that can put a lot of individuals in, which is this worry space, and it'll keep on distracting you from just getting up and putting that thing out, and keep putting things out consistently, to the point where you create your own world where it doesn't really matter. And as you express these things more and more, that's when you attract the crowd. Again, whoever it is that's in those views, if they love what you're doing as much as you love doing it, those are your people, not the big check. You know what I'm saying? The big check that come with a bunch of people who really gonna treat you like everybody else they do in the industry. Y'all see how they do. Like I said before with the example of Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying? It's like the example of Ja Rule where then, you know, that's how the industry do you. When you follow their algorithm and go with their plan. Basically, you got to understand, anything the government gets you into, it's basically used to use you up until you are dried and have no more resource left, and then discard you. That's the same shit they do with physical land. Shit like Africa and stuff like that. You see how that shit's just a resource hub, and they squeezed it out until they got all the shit they needed. On to the next. Same thing they do with every celebrity, every politician. They gonna use you up for your image, and then they gonna get you right the fuck out of there when it's time. Cobalt minded stuff. So you have to understand that you have to value yourself enough to go about what you do in a way that's brave and confident, and not really giving too much importance to what you see being praised, and sanctioned. You got to remember, these things are allowed to go as far as they go. And again, what I'm also proposing too is that we have the power to do that. But the ability to do that comes with teamwork makes the dream work. Shit like, I know y'all probably tired of me saying the word community and shit like that, but that's really what it's about on a different level. Again, if we talking about like really changing the world, we talking about 5 pillars and the purpose of each pillar. Like the live I had with the Mutable Grand Council. Shout out to Mooney Mercury Baby, Zay Quarter, and Saint Uno. You know what I'm saying? We out there. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point of what I was saying was the oh fuck, man, I missed the point. Trying to be funny. You said I saw you making music with 0 views one day on IG live. You were completely unbothered, right? Attitude is one of the things that inspire me. Right. And that's what I mean by it. It's a perspective game. And you know, you gotta have that mental strength to just build your own world. You know what I'm saying? He said, Kira, he said, up early with the message. Right. I'm just getting off work and shit. Oh, I was talking about community, right? Hey, thank you, appreciate you. Like I said, okay, so if we really talking about real change in the world, we talk about 5 pillar shit. So if we talking about and again, we not just saying 5 pillars because we want to dominate and we want to just have all these different spaces. We saying this because these shits is important. This is how you operate. This is how things are built. Because if you think about what these 5 pillars represent, if you were to think if any structure you're trying to build, you need 4 corners and a centerpiece in order to create stability amongst whatever you're trying to build. And say like the live I went on live, that's what I was saying. The live yesterday on Mooney Mercury's channel with the Mutable Grand Council and shit like that, we were talking about the purpose of politicking. Because politics is what strengthens the collective purpose and plan, the communication, the transparency, and the openness, right? That develops that relationship between us. The purpose of entertainment, that pillar represents I always looked at media and entertainment as the food that nourishes the mind. And we know that the mind is what everyone's using to operate. Is basically they're using it as a vehicle for their spirit. And that's why we see the world being the way it is, where again, your next door neighbor behaves a certain way because of how their mind has been trained, groomed, and developed. Their mind has been taken over. That's why people you see as agents in the world, like it's like you can blame them, but you know deep inside, it's just their mind. Their mind was taken over by a worldview, like we was talking before, that keeps them locked into a perspective that's not true to them. Therefore, they lack awareness. They lack power. They lack knowledge. Knowledge of self. They lack power. They have no power over control over themselves. So they run around in circles like sheep led to slaughter. That's like literally what happens. So going back to my 5 pillars and what the purpose of these things is, politicking is to have a communication, direction, and common sense. What is common sense? Common sense, we say that a lot, but since that shit ain't even common. Like what's sensible to me isn't common to everybody, right? But when you get around like-minded individuals, you develop what can be considered common sense, where we all have a sense of y'all get what I'm saying. I'm playing with words, but you get what I'm saying. Like that's the shit with this world, man. This world is like a swirl and you have to unravel shit. And that's the most annoying part here is like when you trying to explain something that's supposed to be simple, the way they explained it though and trained everybody's mind, it's a whole loop. You gotta unwind this shit. You gotta peel it back and shit like a orange and stuff. You know how oranges be having that little underskin. You gotta peel that too. But getting back to my point, so politics is that communication that builds on direction of where we're going, and it helps establish position as well. Part of politics is establishing position, because it's almost like think of echolocation. By communicating, right, we take what's internal and make it known to other people as information for them to digest. With them digesting that information, they can now have an idea of who we are, aka an idea of what space we occupy spiritually as spirits, because everything is about relationships, in a sense, how we relate to each other, right? Whether we resonate because of the spaces we in and what we can do together, or do we clash? The way you coming at this space from this angle and the way I'm coming from this space and this angle is a collision. Opposition, trine, sextile, shit like that. You know, astrology is, that's why it's a dope ass tool. The shit already got stuff embedded in it that speaks of life. But my point is, so that's the point of politics, right? Getting on. Entertainment is, it's what actually gets people inspired and makes people feel connected. It's the stories we share. You know what I'm saying? That's entertainment for real. So entertainment is the lifeblood. And so that's why, again, when we see celebrities, that they use that shit to create images of what we desire. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about, and so the use of entertainment is to keep the people inspired, to give us all images of possibilities. You know what I'm saying? Creative, because there's so many shows I've watched, right, with conversations between two individuals that represent, that I can see as parts of me having a conversation. And that's why we like shit like Netflix. That's why we spend all day on Netflix. And why we want to watch different things and stuff like that. We got to eat food and watch it and watch TV at the same time, because it's like that these be things that can be healing, you know, to a sense. So your favorite show, there's characters in there that represent, and when you really got a spiritually inclined director or a creator of a show, writer, they really putting real shit into the characters and stuff. That's what the point of entertainment and art really is, you know. So that be those pillars. Business is so that we can actually build on something, right? Politics needs the communication to know what we building, but building is the actual execution of this plan. You in that role, me in that role, and we working together to establish something, right? But if we take it to the physical world, business is how we are actually going to, business is also how you calculate value and exchange it. So business is how we do a proper exchange of things, you know. When we talk about so we did business, entertainment, politics, religion, that's the other part of everyone's mind. That's the lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, the worldview, if you will, right? The moral system and what we believe in, our faith in what it is that we build in, right? But you know, because again, there's a reason why everybody, you know, people seem to cling to religion, right? The reason of, you said you infiltrating the 5 pillars, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Saint. Exactly. So when we think about religion and things like that, right? Where was I going with that? So with religion, it's the lifestyle, it's the moral system, faith, belief, what we have faith in and shit like that. So we see how they use it. They use it to get everybody, because that's the internal aspect of what we're building, right? Why we're building this building, why we're in business together, why we are choosing to still have that same connection with each other. That's what connects on an even deeper level. But that also gives you, when we talk about morality and belief and stuff like that, that's the fuel. That's what really keeps anything alive. Shout out to VI Izzle in the building. Yo, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's when we talk about the lifeblood and what's really motivating the people. It's that religion is what we believe in. Everybody clings to religion. Why? Because everybody need a why. Everybody needs to know what they believe in, a meaning and reasoning behind why this is important and why we can't do something else. Because there's a lot of things we can do, but why should we not do something else? Why should I keep this path and not the other one? And again, when we talking about career path and spiritual path, again, when you doing certain things at certain times, like I said, you might have that bullshit job. Why are you there though? And if you can develop some form of vision beyond, or imagination to believe in beyond you stocking those shelves, you already on or whatever you do as a career path, all of a sudden This is all forms of you taking power into your own experience. Like I said before, that's what knowledge is power really means. It's really like, oh, my awareness is broad enough to have a creativity to put towards anything I'm experiencing physically into what I want to see around me or feel or have internally or experience spiritually, I should say. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about experiencing things spiritually, this is you being able to be in the spaces you want to be in. You know, again, developing something that can look like a manifestation out of that job, right? A way that you can continue to do or spend more time, attention, and energy into what you want to see around you, rather than having to sacrifice that on the front end to get something on the back end, aka, and like I said before, when you lead in with desires, that looked like the right thing to do. That looked like what everybody else doing. Oh, well, yeah, I got to go to work to get that check. And then I'm going to take that check. I'm going to get me 3 bottles. I'm going to get me a section at the club. And I'm going to hit the strip. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to buy that. And then and then we just going to rinse and repeat. But then these people be saying, oh, I got these real goals. I got these real things. But that's that desire loop, because you did that shit for a desire. So when you get off work, the first thing you want to do is get that time back. So I gotta get the amount of hours, minutes it felt like I was at that job. I gotta get high for as many seconds, hours, minutes as I was at that job. I gotta get just as high. I gotta get this as much pleasure so that I can go back to work on Monday. And again, you don't see, you actually not making no progress towards nothing real. Because when you got real shit going, shout out to say, you said real goals and free before the club at 11 don't mix. Exactly. And that comes down to Saturn type shit, making decisions, like the decision for your life. And see, without the awareness, you not gonna see, most people don't got the awareness to see it that way. They see it as, well, I deserve to celebrate. I'm off. So if I'm off, that means I could take a break and do like this, that, and the third. But again, if you got real goals and stuff, and see, the thing is, it ain't even nothing wrong about getting drunk or going to the club. The thing is the intent behind it. Because if you, right, time management, right? Time is so important. Time is tangible. Like, that shit should be, that's gold. That's all we really got to really use, you know, as leverage and shit like that as a spirit. Like, as a spirit, you really think about it. Like, what are you really using as leverage and value? Fucking time. I'm gonna only spend this amount of, that's why you be on D&D on the phone. Like, why you just choose not to pick up the phone for certain shit. It's just like, I'm not spending time on that. Why you choose not to talk to certain people. That's the biggest resources for it. Like, because it's so limited. And nobody knows how much you really got. Like, so it's like, hey, I ain't got time for this day. I ain't got time for that. But there's stuff you feel like you do got time for. And that's the whole thing. It's like, how are you managing that time here? Because so many people will choose and make decisions that go against what they claim their actual goal and pursuit is. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I had to get out of certain situations early on when I was, you know, trying to, you know, first coming up and trying to do what I do and shit like that. And again, it goes to the difference between, it's really, these are things that you have to look around the people around you and decide for yourself. It's like, are we really meant to be connected like that? Because if I'm managing, if I got these things I'm trying to spend time on, and you got those things you trying to spend time on, if the times don't match and shit like that, I might be selling myself short, you know, even at that job and stuff. Because not, when I say career path and spiritual path, how to align these things, right? You also have to calculate that for yourself too. There's a certain way you should treat your job, right? Because you got to think about it. They don't care about certain things that you got going on in your own life, right? You got to care about those things. But there's a shared agreement. Hey, if I show up for this shift, I get paid this much. So this is how you go into the workplace and don't just break your back, basically. This is how you go to the workplace, but don't sacrifice your actual peace, sanity, and mental health and shit like that. Because there's certain decisions you got to make at that job and say, yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'll do this, that, and the third, but I might leave that for somebody else. Even if my manager mad, hey, so what? Hey, if I want to take this time off and say it's not that big of a deal to take. But again, regardless, you are hey, look, if you want to take time off, go ahead, buck a little bit. Like, hey, I'm gonna take this time off, regardless of if your manager come to you talking about something. Oh no, you can't take that day off, and you really need that day off for something. You got something going on. Don't sit there and ruminate on whether it's worth it or not. Well, you should have your own discernment and shit like that, but be ready to buck on certain things, like, because even that garners a certain level of respect for real in the world. If you choosing certain things and make it a real choice, it's like, no, I got this audition today, I can't work this shift. You tried to communicate, but your manager talk about something, it's mandatory. Again, you got a decision to make, because this is how you also got to show the universe you serious too. You got to show God you got faith in what you doing too. You know what I'm saying? Don't jump off the bridge. Don't burn the bridge. Don't abuse the situation and relationship to the point where, okay, now you done been late every single day for the last month. You not holding up your end of the bargain. It's a balance thing. Yeah, we can say fuck that job, but make sure you get there on time and just do what you need to do to get through. After you get through, you take that check and remind yourself what you doing it for. But hey, you know what I'm saying, it's y'all life. So, you know what I'm saying, it's not about just going along, like, because again, I don't want to tell you just act crazy at the job and shit like that, or disregard it. But if you have a spiritual path, you got to put that at first priority and understand that the other people are in positions to have a business that you work at because they chose to go where their spirit chose to take them. They had faith in what they believed in to build as a business. That's why you working at it. So even at that job, like I said, make it a reason why you there. Start learning stuff. Start having conversations and seeing different ways that people are being about these different things. You said you used to didn't give a fuck about that word mandatory while at the work. Right. That's why I had 5 W-2s a year. Right. Exactly. Because sometimes, again, what is mandatory? You know what I'm saying? What is mandatory? Especially if you got something real, because like I said, at the end of the day, they looking at you as a number. So sometimes you got to buck on them and just be like, yeah, I'm not coming to that. Like, and if y'all want to write me up, all right, cool. I'm a, you know, but you gotta play with the universe too. You can't just, that's the part of, but again, you gotta have discernment. If you can do that, then do that. If you know what you're doing, then you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing yet, just chill. You know what I'm saying? Chill. Don't. I mean, hey, you might have the experience though. You know what I'm saying? To each their own. Again, I ain't trying to lead nobody. To fuck up their life situation and stuff like that. Hey, if you need to be at that job because you got 2 kids at home, go. You know what I'm saying? Go. Make it work. But again, it goes back to what I was saying. Even if that is your circumstance, because that's part of what we talking about too. To align these things. Again, your spirit also didn't come here to suffer. Your spirit chose to come into your human vessel to have a certain experience. But it's like learning how to walk. You can't let one foot drag. You're not going to get nowhere. Chances are you're going to fall on your face. You have to learn how to take one step in both worlds. You know what I'm saying? I need to take a step physically, make sure my bills paid and my responsibilities taken care of. But then I need to make sure I have space and time and energy for the things I truly believe in and what I have faith in. You said double judge with anything that isn't spiritual, right? Exactly. Double judge. It's like sometimes you got to hop into this, but then you got to also remind yourself every day of why you even going there in the first place. Otherwise, you're going to start to feel drained. And there's times where you can do all the spiritual work you do and you still going to feel drained and your body going to need that rest and stuff like that. That is real. Like I was saying before, just don't lose that fire. Don't lose that inspiration. Don't lose that direction. Still keep in mind, like, yo, I'm here for a reason and this is what I'm doing. Spiritual path implies that you have a purpose beyond this physical world. Career path is really just saying that you have an idea of the level of material comfort you want to have, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. But how do we reach that? We have to figure, either we create a new way and we take that huge leap of faith, like on some Kai Cenat shit, where now I'm a streamer and hey, I done took off. Or I did this, I'm an artist in this kind of way and I took off. Or you're gonna have to be more realistic and say, well, there must be things I have to learn or things I have to experience before I'm able to be in a position to handle what I'm actually trying to manifest for myself. Because that's the thing. People don't realize, like, why is it taking so long? Why you probably not even in the right space to handle what it is you even trying to manifest for yourself? Which is why, again, manifestations really high key be all around you, but you don't have the awareness to materialize in these areas, to do something with it. See, that's the thing too. A lot of people walk around like, man, I'm trying to manifest. I'm trying to manifest. Motherfucker, there's manifestations that could literally lead you to your goal to tomorrow, all around you, but you just lack the awareness. And again, have grace for yourself. You ain't gotta beat yourself up, but that's a wake up call to say, oh, let me stop bitching and get my shit together. Let me stop bitching and actually pay attention to what God's showing me right now. Let me stop bitching and adjust my attitude and my mood, come up with a new emotion and feeling and thought form that I can actually work with, that's gonna make these that what I already got around me work for me, aka materialize with that shit. Vi Isla said, I'm at work right now, but I'm still tapped in with my spiritual path, building with y'all right now. Exactly in any way that's gotta look at. You know what I'm saying? When you clock in, got a little earbuds in, listen to somebody who inspire you, that can remind you. That's the whole point of why we even make videos and shit like that, to remind each other. Point of entertainment is really to remind you, like, what is really entertainment on television and shit like that? What is that doing? Really, it's just a reminder. Everything you see on TV was approved by certain people with regulations and things like that. Again, there's a reason why certain shows go on season after season and some don't. And again, like, from the most simplest explanation to the most complex, it all has to do with these images represent what we want to remind the people on a daily basis. So when we think about why we tap in to people like Saint Uno, why we tap in to people like Jackie New, why we tap into people like Dolo, why we tap into people like Free, why we tap into people like Mooney, why we tap into people like all y'all, Equilibria, why we tap into these people, it's because they remind us of what we want to be reminded of ourselves. Fifth house, Leo shit. That's really all that Leo energy, all that, like, when you see somebody express themselves in a way that make you smile and say, damn, I like that. Chances are you see yourself in that shit. You like, yeah. Even the thing, and some people, again, you might have Scorpio in the fifth house. So you like even seeing the enemies of you like seeing the you know, even if you being portrayed as an enemy or you being portrayed as a villain and shit like that. Sometimes you like it like that. Like, it's all different ways, but this is what we low-key be doing. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Equilibria. She said that's actual spiritual strength. Exactly. Because it takes so much mental tenacity to stay focused on that. Because we all have days where we lean more on the negative end, but we know if we don't pull ourselves back from that, there is no progress. Like, there at a certain point, especially, I mean, you know, because all this shit be different. He said, I fake love being seen as an enemy. Right, exactly. Right, Scorpio rising shit. I love seeing that, right. But we all have days where, like, we off a little bit, but like I was gonna say, especially, see, it's different for men and women, because men and women are in different positions, but it's the same thing we both experience. It's just in different kind of ways, right? As a man, though, I know damn well there was times where on some real shit, what I'm going through is so heavy, right? And really, all it is the thoughts and feelings I'm in is so heavy that it's damn near stagnating, but keeping me stagnant. But literally, I had to understand, hey, if I don't drag myself out of this, I can't get to work to do the things I need to do to even be who I want to be. Same thing for women. You know what I'm saying? Going through all you going through, at some point, you got to say, hey, if I don't pull myself back together, I'm going to find myself drifting off even further. So it's like, we also have to understand, like, only you can save yourself. You got to drag yourself back to center in order to get your shit done. Because if you don't, you end up just like everybody else you see, drifting off, addicted to this, fiending for that, reaching for that. And the more you ignore that, the more you allow certain things to weigh you down, the slower you become. And then you can't even see. You know what I'm saying? She said cancer shit. Right. Right. Cause y'all really, y'all really the low-key enemies. Like cancers be I love the cancers, man. Y'all are funny. Like it should be so slick. It'd be like, man. Anyway, that's funny. Real talk. Um, but yeah, I was going. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. I was going, man. But I was still gonna make a water sign thing. Cause sometimes like it be sounding like what they think Pisces is really what Cancer is sometimes. But I'm gonna leave that alone. Cause we too. But yeah, so when we talk about yeah, so we all only you can save yourself, and sometimes you got to even see that with other people in your life. Like, you know, it's not necessarily your responsibility to save anybody, and that's again, that's old age spirituality, love and light. I gotta save everybody. I am the chosen one, and all that rhetoric. That's bullshit. That's people who are in some kind of fantasy narcissist land where they think they want to be the main character, because in their life they never was the main character. And why was they never the main character? Because they never expressed themselves. They never stepped up and just chose to do that. They was always in fear and hid behind whatever was the most popular image, and that led to identity crisis. It's like, I think all narcissism just comes from a simple identity crisis. You didn't know who you was for a period of time where a lot of people threatened you and made you feel uncomfortable. So now you traumatized, and you using that narcissist personality as a new shield and still not being your damn self. That's so crazy. How you're like, if you really think about what a narcissist really do, they don't even be themselves at the end of it all. Like, that ain't even who you really are. Like, it's so sad sometimes. You just be looking like, damn, you just really stuck in that loop. But yeah. But yeah, so to wrap it all up, you know what I'm saying, or bring it back to center and shit. When we talk about aligning these things, what does it really take, and what does it really mean? And it really is looking at the practical means of your situation, right? Like, look at the real practical means of your situation. We know what you want to do, your spiritual path. And let's say you still trying to figure out your spiritual path. Because honestly, even when we talk about spiritual path, that's like a blanket word. Like, it's always changing. It's always developing. That's the point of it. You know, you can have a purpose that might look, you know, and there's different ways to, I like to think of it kind of like we was talking about with double dutch. 1 foot in one world, 1 foot in the other, right? And it's not like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Both feet are in, because you're here, you're present, but it's 1 foot in the physical world, creating balance there, and another foot in the spiritual world, understanding what's behind everything that is going on in the physical, what's motivating the physical, you know, what's motivating it from behind, and what's ahead of the journey and the point of it ahead of it. So if you think about it like that, it's like, as you're going through different transitions, different seasons, and different phases of your life, you're in that physical world, but it's all being motivated by what you want in your space and what you don't, what you believe in and what you don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying about perception, you know, life being a perception game, and it all leading back to awareness. And the point of why, even on top of all of this, the point also is to get out and experience, because you need to know what's going on. You need to see new things in order for you to even have a broad enough awareness to have more power in how you control and direct your thoughts and feelings, and the ability to produce them, right? And this is how you stay on your center path, because as you're going through these new experiences and expanding, you're doing what's necessary to get your responsibilities in right. You open doors by having your physical together, because this is the world we in. This is how it operates. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to produce income, and you're going to have to utilize that income to tap into the resources that they've built off of the resources they took from other people. You know what I'm saying? So understand that, though, because ain't no fun. Again, we can laugh all day, but it kind of suck when you ain't got money to go out. Even if, say, all your people going to the spot, it don't feel good to be so spiritual that you don't got enough to go to the spot with your friends and shit. It don't feel good to not have a house, you know what I'm saying? When again, just because you spiritual, I don't know where the misconception became. I can't have no fit, you know, I gotta be broke too. That don't feel good. It don't feel good being broke in this world like that. Like, and again, a powerful spirit, you got to ask yourself why you experiencing certain things. Like I said, your spirit didn't come here to suffer in this human vessel. We came here for other reasons because we was following something. Again, a desire on some real shit. But again, we having this experience, but who said that we had to live in such a way in which we deprived ourselves from the things that are here to experience? Again, don't get carried away, don't overindulge, but equilibrium involved or moderation involved, right? But the point of it all is that the part of the blending is us needing to be able to kind of just see it for what it is. And so as we look at our physical situation and understand, oh, this is the practical situation, right? And then we have our spiritual path. We say, okay, well, on the pursuit of this, if I want to do this with my creativity, if I want to do this with my time, attention, and energy, what do I need to have to support that in the physical? What do I need physically to support that? And that's how you use your actual, because in the physical, this is just really just something to support your real mission. You know what I'm saying? That's a good perspective to look at it as. This is just something physical to support the metaphysical. This is going to make the metaphysical make sense for me in my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I won't have to just sleep on a friend's couch. I can actually build a house, because what I actually want to do is get to a point where I can, whether that's teach from home, or, you know, I want to start a garden, a community garden, or I want to do this, I want to do that. Like these different things that we really want to do in the world, we start to realize as we grow older, shit, some of that should need money, because it's this world that we in, this game that we playing, you know what I'm saying, as far as having to, you know, work and get income, it's like this game that we playing, there's certain rules to it. And that's what I was saying in the very beginning about, you got to look at how the game is played and the rules of it just to understand it. Then you can play it how you want to play it, but you still got to get the stepping stones first, see how they doing stuff first. Oh, that's how it operates here. Because again, people will start to equate, they not working in they life, right? Not you know, not having a job, not things on a material level not working out for them. They like, most common people is turn around and blame that on God, when God ain't got nothing to do with that, right? God being all possibilities, honestly, you should be mad at yourself, because obviously you wasn't using all possibilities to come up with a solution for yourself, for your own internal problems. So now you want to blame it on God, and that turns into you blaming it on everybody else in your life, punishing people in your close life, punishing people, your loved ones, people that love you. You punish them, you give them a bad attitude, you cuss them out, you tell them they ain't shit, you kill their dreams. You get what I'm saying? All because you made bad decisions, because you wasn't using all possibilities right. That's not the way to go. And that is how you create hell. Generational curses and shit like that. And if you really think about it, concepts of hell, oh, burning forever, really is just you coming back into a similar family situation, circumstance over and over and over again. That's hell. Shout out to Say Uno, because he had a video called Why Heaven and Hell Start with H. Getting into what is it, numerical, I forgot what you called it. It was a form of numerology though. But y'all alphabetical numerology or something like that. Y'all should go tap into that and watch that too. I'm sure it may just add on to the point I'm talking, or vice versa. You know, just a different little perspective on what he was talking about. But that's the whole thing. It's like we create these things at the same time without even understanding it, you know. But all that aside, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to balancing these two things, alphabet numerology, on God, appreciate you. Yeah, real shit, man. Appreciate you. I'm like, that's some new shit. I was like, ooh, I can't wait to get me some food and watch that shit. I can't wait to get some lunch and watch that shit while I edit some of these videos. But yeah, you know, when it comes to how we balance these things, that is really, it's simple, but it's a little complex just because of how, like I said before, you got to unravel certain things. And all you really unraveling is what you thought based upon what everybody else praised as good. But really, if you understand everything is in reverse, you know the second something is widely accepted and praised, it's accepted for a reason, and then you can start to attack that reason. And when you figure out that reason behind it, you can start to say, oh, that's why everybody ain't shit. Hey, shout out to Archangel Seraph. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. Long time no see. Good to see you. But real shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's that's really what it is. It's like you gotta understand, like, yeah, basically you're just looking at it for, you know, so when you're looking at your circumstance, you gotta make sense out of it. And we can get into the astrology of it. Maybe that'll be a part 2 to this live stream. But, you know, beyond the astrology, just spiritually, you know, spiritually, how do you align these things? You have to be willing to develop that awareness, and everything you're doing at that job, figure out a way that it can be rerouted into something you do. And see, here's the thing though. Now, to get into more complex aspects of this, right? Not even complex, but let's say you actually do have a trade. See, the best kind of blending that I would say is if you can find, say, what you naturally like to do creatively, if you can find a way to be able to do that through one of they already made up career paths. And the reason why is because the time you spend at that job, it's not going to feel as much as a friction than you doing something that is entirely unrelated to what you do creatively. For instance, a cashier job versus, let's say, you into videography, so you get a camera job, or, you know, something doing with film, or an editing job or something like that in the industry that you're interested in with your creativity. But this is how you remix it. You can learn what they do and get paid for it, and then take those resources to create your own view of the industry, basically. And that goes back to what we was even in. I don't know if I had connected this point, but part of why you even want to connect these two is because as a individual, right? Like I was saying, a lot of people choose to lead with the desire, and they compensate their true self spiritually for what they want, that they think is going to get widely accepted. When you flip that, you as a spirit bring a whole new version of how something could be done, right? And people say no, nothing new under the sun. The thing is, the materials we use is the same, but how we do it is what makes it unique and valuable. So if you can craft your uniqueness in a way that can resonate and gain influence, you've created a new industry. Part of gaining influence is that again, community, and what people would call, oh, my fans or my followers and shit like that. No, well, not everybody see it this way, but people need, you know, and that's really what you see nowadays, based upon based upon Age of Aquarius type shit. Everybody's trying to build a community with but again, the place they coming from, they see them as a fan base, they see them as followers, and they might not actually value them the same way as, for instance, people on my channel, on Dolo channel, on Saint channel, on whoever channel, who really are tapped in. And again, we connect it, because you can see the difference versus, you know, how they do things where you just coming on tour with them, right? But you see us doing conferences, really getting into the connection, you know what I'm saying, and really coming together with business. Again, a lot of these other celebrities, the way they've been running the game for so long, they never had that direct to consumer opportunity like new artists do these days. And that's what makes today's time so powerful. Even artists like La Russell, which, again, like, say what you want about his music, stuff like that, because some people might say his music a little corny, but what he's done this wise is genius. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of how he runs his he does like a backyard show, and he created a community out of that. And the way he runs his business, where he gives a piece of, I think, what is it? You buy his album, it's like a name your price thing, where you name your price and you basically own a percentage of his masters or something like that, where into shares and stuff. It's business talk, but it's very very unique and very innovative in a way to actually show how we could, you know, it's a better way of going about crowdfunding and community building in a sense, you know what I'm saying? You know, but you know, that's how I go, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you said, yeah, that's why I tutor for the future school I'm gonna be a principal at. Okay, yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, exactly, right. You trying to be a principal, you should work at a school. Instead of looking at a job in such an opposing way that you go get a gas that you say you reject it, you be homeless, and then you be like, all right, fine, and I'll just go get a janitor job and stuff like you know what I'm saying, something completely unrelated, when you could look at the realistic aspect of it and say, well, I like to teach, so maybe I should do something related to this industry. And they already got something pre-planned, so now you can start to get connected, boom, in certain ways that, and again, you start to see different synchronicities, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You can start to create those synchronicities to be walking in the pathway to get to where you're trying to go faster. Again, this is how you you know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, yeah. All he said, all tarot readers and astrologers welcome. Hey, that sound lit, real talk. But that's the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? You creating that equilibrium with it. I forgot where I was going. Y'all got chill, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you know, no, y'all good, y'all know. But so when we talking about, you know, things moving forward and things like that, so when we what was my point? We was talking about we was still talking about community. I think we was still talking about community, but basically just balancing these two things. So damn, I forgot where it was. But I think for the most part we got some good groundwork on this concept. So blending the two and what it really entails. And you know, oh, that's what it was, you know, because you was talking about teaching. You know, the better you can find something that already exists as an industry that's related to what you like to do, then you already know. And see, the younger you are, the better. Because like realistically, right, not everybody is meant to go to their college systems, and you don't have to do that by any means. But there's other ways to position yourself to be able to still experience the things that people with that paperwork can do, whether it be certifications, or just having experience with something within that field, to the point where you've been doing it so long, you damn well might as well have the credits. And again, if you got a lot on the application to say you got a degree, just say you do. Nobody be checking for real. So, you know, there's ways to finesse that. But again, when we talk about career path, there's also ways you have to consider. Again, with consideration of how the world works, there's ways you can position yourself that'll give you more physical material legitimacy than others. You know what I'm saying? So you also should take that into consideration if that's the type of game you want, if that's how you want to play the game. Because it's all about how you want to play it. You don't got to play it like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You say how we do shit different, and actually do conference and meetups, making people more than exactly. Again, I don't ever use that word followers or subscribers even and stuff like that, because to me that's not what it is. You know, there's still a level of healthy distance between people I don't know, but that's the whole point of doing events and stuff like that. It's like, no, now I know you. Now I know you. I'm familiar with your energy. I seen you before. Like, okay, cool. We done broke bread together. We done ate together. We done, you know what I'm saying, type shit. Where now it makes sense to back and support the connection. You know what I'm saying? People who have yet to meet, you really don't know these people. You know, again, you barely know the people you might have just met, but at least you've seen them. Unless you know, hey, this is a physical person. Like, this is a real spirit in the body. Like, okay, I can say that. I can say that much. Who they are behind closed doors, I may not know, but I know they a spirit in a body, not a bot, or, you know what I'm saying, or who knows, question mark. But you know, exactly, having real value in that shit. And that's what's going to actually make a difference in the world. Even if, and that goes to the point too, if you are, while you're on a career path, if you are an artist, you have to think in terms of that. If what you're expressing and what you're doing is for the purpose of connecting with people, then you have to create that environment for that to exist and figure out creative ways to get that creativity you do either on a stage or engage with other people. You know, there's so many different creative ways. If you need more, go ahead, email me at 717conference.info@gmail.com and we can have a little consultation. But you know, there's many ways to go about it that's gonna make sense for you. Especially in today's time as an artist, you have to cultivate your crowd. You know what I'm saying? And VI Israel said, shout out to the Soul Tribe, because that's really what it is. Everybody trying to find they people right now. So if you are, you know, and again, if you've been doing the right thing, planting the right seeds, you've grown around people, you should be around people who reflect that. And that's where you want to start the building from. You know what I'm saying? That's actually how you go. You said, next time I go to ATL, I'm boxing everybody. Hey, I feel you. I feel you. So, you know, that's how you got to go about that. And then even in that career path, how they say relationships are so important. Again, you know, how you treat people is important too. Again, you don't want to, and even if you do got the bullshit convenient short job, you don't know what relationship could lead you to something a little bit closer to what you want to do. So communicate it, express it. You never know. You know, let it be known what you do. You know, again, it might feel weird at first, but there's some, you know, if you can gauge the spirit you're talking to and decide for yourself, like, oh, this is the cool spirit or a spirit I could see, you know. And sometimes you gotta say, fuck that shit. Let me just throw my shit out there. Like, hey, I'll do this, and let that fall where it fall, you know, because you never know who listening. Even, you know, never know who you might run into at that job and stuff like that. God, again, like I said before, the manifestation is how I keep all around us. There's you probably 2 steps away from hitting that jackpot. It's just you're not aware, you know. And again, that's why, again, we have to practice and get better in whatever we do and as individuals, because even on the internal level, that shadow work is all necessary. Getting rid of trauma, perspective, adjusting certain things, how we see things, how we feel about it, and how we sorting out everything. All these different things matter. You know, habits that we into that take us away from being in the right place time. You know what I'm saying? All these different things play a role and a factor. So as we consider these things, it makes it easier for these things to make sense with each other, because that's really what all this live is about. How do we make it make sense? We be spiritual, but we don't get too lost and start to misuse our time, abuse our time. How can we actually value ourselves enough to use our time properly and then create a equilibrium so that we can experience these things that we want to experience more so than the things we don't want to experience. But yeah, anyway, thank y'all for showing up. You know what I'm saying? It's always lit. I might go live later on today. I don't know. I got a lot on the plate. If not today, I'm gonna go live tomorrow and break down some more transits, because I know we got Moon in Pisces, and the moon, I'm damn near, I think the moon finna go into Aries. So I think we probably just catch each other when we talk about the moon in Aries, unless I go live tonight, because I think it might go into Aries tonight anyway. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. You said you should do an open panel. Yeah, I should. I gotta set that up. If I yeah, I'm gonna take yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna structure something like that to go down. But anyway, y'all have a beautiful day. Much love. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.